rations and supplies, but you need a place to track your stuff, cause you're so disorganized. You click open the web page, you heard about a critical role, and now you're ready to kick some butt in that mine shaft full of no's. It's D&D, D&D Beyond, yeah, D&D, D&D Beyond. You got your stats, you got your swords, and you got your invisible wall. It's D&D, D&D Beyond.
Hello, everyone. I am Adam Bradford, and welcome to another edition of our development update and community Q&A session. I appreciate you joining me today. Today is a big day for me. I can barely contain my excitement. There might be a movie that I'm going to see a couple of times later tonight. So I do appreciate you being with me on this day that is this important to me. But for now, we're talking about D&D Beyond, and today's lineup, we'll talk about some latest updates, what's upcoming. We'll give a data update. We've got some equipment information that we will share. And then I am going to spend a little bit of time talking about the MCU and how some of the things that have happened with the MCU have actually influenced the things that are happening on D&D Beyond. So we'll talk about some of the parallels and some of the principles that have gone into building the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how those principles have been applied on D&D Beyond and how they actually impact the future of D&D Beyond quite a bit. So we'll get into a little bit of a discussion on that, and then plenty of time for questions today, because this is the last development update of the month. So we will, as I typically try to do, we will try to catch up with as many questions as we possibly can today and kind of have a roundup. And then another quick note, I will do my best to try to remind you at the end of our stream today as well. But next week, we will not have a development update. I am going to be on the road. My son is going to be competing in, I'm not even joking when I say this, a sword fighting tournament. So he participates in historical European martial arts. So he is going to be going to a tournament, and so we'll be on the road supporting him in that. So no dev update for next week. All right, let's get into this. Latest updates, pre-alpha encounter builder. I showed you a preview last week. We won't get into it too much this week, but I can tell you that things are progressing, and I'm getting more and more excited with every single thing that I see coming out of our challenges team right now on the encounter builder. We are every day moving closer and closer to our alpha being able to start. Keep in mind that if you want to join in on the alpha here, and this is going to be the case for many of the big features that we're going to be putting out over the course of this year and beyond that, you as a subscriber will be able to get early access to that kind of in its alpha state, and you can help shape the future of this functionality and these features by participating in that as a subscriber. So definitely keep that in mind. I get several questions about, first of all, I get a lot of questions about, is it available yet? And of course, the answer to that is no, because if it was available, you would certainly know about it. But if you are a subscriber, that's just going to be automatic access. And then you will see through our social channels, through our changelog, through a variety of places that these things have gone live when they do go live, and you'll be able to jump in at that point in time and start participating. The mobile beta character sheet, still moving forward on it. As I explained a little bit last time, offline is something that we are trying to accomplish with this, and offline is pretty tough with some of the complexity that DDB has going on for it. The good news is once we get there, we'll be there, and it will be really, really a really great experience, especially in some places that still do exist in our world. where there are pockets of weak Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi. And then Ghost of Saltmarsh, content entry, and then the vehicle system. All of that is at work right now, and we are definitely in a good place for that for our May 21st release. So really excited about that book coming out. I've read it cover to cover at this point, and it is really, really solid. There is something about a Dungeons and Dragons game that is taking place in, a nautical environment that I love, and Ghost of Saltmarsh is really going to tickle that, for people, and it's going to be a great campaign if you have the time and the bandwidth to run it. Upcoming content management, phase 1 of that is the next major feature for that team, the content team. AL validation, new bundle type. So actually, this one probably should have been moved up to the latest updates because it is in progress. So that is being done right now. We'll probably have something to share on that pretty soon. And then the Descent is coming up I think it's the 17th or 18th. It's somewhere in the middle of May. Hopefully somebody in chat, Lauren maybe, can help me out there and let everyone know when that's actually happening, and maybe put some links in place to kind of show everyone what is going on at this event. It's going to be a really, really great event, and there are going to be some pre-orders, or pre-orders. I'm leaving that very vague right now. No idea. Being perfectly honest, I don't know what's getting announced, which one or ones. But ultimately we'll see what comes out of that event, and we will have some pre-orders up, following that as well. All right. If you're asking questions, be sure to do that. Let me make sure that our question magic, the question magic is collecting questions. So keep those coming. Preface it with question where it will pick it up. Data update, equipment. So armor equipped by type. This is what we actually see the most of. Leather, a shield, lots of shields being used out there. Chainmail, studded leather, scale mail. So this is interesting that 32% of the active characters out there, are equipping a shield. So I don't know why, but I find that fascinating because barely any of the players that I play with use shields, and I adore shields. So I like to see that they're that well represented in the overall population. Leather, chainmail, studded leather. Not sure why so many people are using leather over studded leather, other than to say that you get it for free with many classes. And there are a lot of low-level characters in the sample size here, because obviously studded leather seems like it's a lot better for very little, additional cost. Plate, breastplate, ring mail brings up the rear on the armor. Ring mail, no one likes ring mail. It feels like, the rapier could just slip right in between the ring, but no one wants to wear ring mail. Top 25 weapons equipped. The dagger is dominant here. So for the dagger, again, this is another one of those weapons that people get for free for a lot of classes as part of starting equipment. And so daggers are very frequently equipped. And then you see short swords like crossbows, hand axes. Rapier is actually equipped more than a long sword, which surprised me a little bit. But ultimately, this is what we have when it comes to the weapons that are being equipped. I see a question coming through chat already. Does dual wielding a dagger count twice? It is going to, that's something that I need to clarify. I'm fairly certain that if you've equipped the weapon twice, it will count twice here. So that could be part of what's going on, that you've just got a lot of people dual wielding daggers, and daggers are all over the place. Either way, I think it's showing a picture that daggers are pretty popular weapons in D&D. All right. And then top 25 magic items. So the potion of healing, the greater potion of healing, which I think is fascinating that it's the greater version. I guess that's the best economical fit, price versus what you get out of it. So the potion of greater potion of healing, the bag of holding is something that is very, very popular. Ring of protection, cloak of protection, those are very solid for pretty low level of buy-in. And then dagger, yet again being such a popular weapon, +1. There's our shield, +1. And then you continue down the line here. I love that the immovable rod makes its way into the top 25 because the immovable rod is one of my personal favorite magic items. There are so many things that you can do with an immovable rod that I find fascinating, and I love to get creative with that in my own games. So yeah, these are the top 25 magic items here too. All right, so let's talk about the MCU and D&D Beyond just a little bit. And obviously today is a big day for the MCU, today through tomorrow. Some people in the world have already seen it there. You better not spoil anything for folks. But it is a pretty big day. And I think one of the incredible things about thinking about where Avengers Endgame is coming from is to consider that it is the 22nd film, I think, or maybe 23. It's over 20 films here that are culminating in something that is kind of, concluding today, and seeing where this entire Marvel Cinematic Universe started versus where it's ending up here at the end of Phase 3, I think is a fascinating look at something that really is very important to us here at D&D Beyond. And this has been something that from the beginning of us putting together D&D Beyond, literally in our meetings, we talk about the MCU as a little bit of a model for what we're trying to do and how we're trying to work. And so I wanted to kind of peel back some of the layers of that for everyone today, again, because of the day it is. But knowing the fans, one of the things that the MCU has done so incredibly well is knowing the fans. Who loves this thing that you're trying to make, and what is it that they want? And so this draws a lot of parallels for us. I am not remotely saying that we do this right all the time, but I am telling you, and I hope that it's been proven and demonstrated over the last year or two, that we at D&D Beyond, we care about the community, and we do know the community. Again, we don't always get it right, but we spend so much time trying to make sure that we know the fans that are going to be playing D&D and that are going to be using our products. Again, it doesn't mean that we have made all the things that the fans need yet, but knowing the fans and knowing the community is incredibly important to us. And I think that that's one of the things that the MCU has demonstrated, that, whether you like the movies, whether you love them, whether you're ambivalent or don't even like them, I would say that it's fair to say that, Kevin Feige and all of the directors and the creators that have had a part in what's going on with the MCU know the fan base. And that's one of the reasons that it's been so successful. And we know that knowing the community is the number one thing that we can do to make D&D Beyond successful. The primacy of vision. So Kevin Feige is one of my personal, or professional heroes, I guess we can say, in that I really admire the way that he was able to see some kind of end state or end game, if you will, and he was able to lay out a vision for that ahead of time. Now, does that mean that end game is going to look exactly like what he thought it would look like on day zero? Of course not. But that idea of having a target that you're trying to get to and trying to achieve is really, really compelling. And at the end of the day, you will never hit a target if you don't have a target. And so vision and understanding where you're going is incredibly important. And that is something at D&D Beyond that we can't reveal every bit of this to the public yet for a variety of reasons, mostly because, timing on things and, even Wizards of the Coast products that we can't reveal at this point in time. But we do have a vision and we do have a plan for where we are going. And I'm not necessarily talking about, the Cylon's plan or whatever in Battlestar Galactica, because that didn't feel like much of a plan to me. I'm talking about we know where we're going, and we know, that, the importance of those things and that we're trying to accomplish and how we're trying to get there. So then the right talent. I think one of the things that the MCU has demonstrated better than any movie franchise in history is, again, the leadership, the producers that were getting into these films as they started to put them together. They got the right talent to participate in making that vision happen. So, I think it's incredible to think about where Robert Downey Jr. was before Iron Man, but being able to see the potential and what could happen with him as that character. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, all of these, and I mean, even all the way down to Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill. The talent is just so top notch in what they've put together. And then let's talk about directors for a moment. Stroke of genius to pull in Joss Whedon to kind of join the Avengers together for the first time. Clearly, it has paid off very, very well to find the Russo brothers. So the right talent is really important, and it has shaped what has happened with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I believe that on D&D Beyond, something that we care about deeply is finding the right talent. We're currently hiring, so I'm going to shout that out right now. So we are currently hiring some product managers. We're trying to hire some product designers. So please go out there and apply. If you've ever wanted to work on Dungeons and Dragons, this is the best gig in town, I'm telling you. So try to apply for that. We've got some engineering roles that are opening up if they're not already out there. So keep an eye out. Join the team because we're looking for that right talent. We have got some incredible talent out here already on the team. As the team continues to grow, it makes it incredible for me to come into work every day. Love working with the talent that we have here. And this is the talent that we're building that is going to help us accomplish the vision that D&D Beyond has. The sum of the parts are greater than the whole. So in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, each of the individual movies, they're good. They're some of them are great, I would say. I think that I was kind of getting all tore up about Winter Soldier the other day. It's just an incredible film. There are several of the others that I would say that are really incredible films. Some of them, I wouldn't go on the record and say that any of them were just flat out bad, but some of them are not quite as good. But when you look at how those various pieces come together, I believe that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. And so for D&D Beyond, this is another really important piece for us that we're covering a very large spread with D&D Beyond. And we always want to be thinking about how is this going to contribute to the overall feeling that all these things integrated together are going to make this a bigger and better thing than these things would be individually. So that's something that we constantly think about. And then also a phased approach. I think it was a great move for, as Kevin Feige and the rest of the leadership started to go through and phase and even communicate this to the public, that there is a phased approach that they were going through for each of these elements. It allows for arcs to happen. It allows for these milestones and these inflection points. So each of the Avenger films kind of being the ending high point for each of these phases. And if you were to think about this in terms of D&D Beyond, the parallel that I would say at this point in time is we truly are still in our phase one. So everything that we talk about internally, everything is leading up to pretty much what we consider to be the end of phase 1, which is encounter builder into monster builder. And then we're going to have pretty solid character management, solid, challenge management. And that for us is phase 1. And so that's kind of where we've been headed. And as we get there, that will close out phase 1. Phase 2 and 3, really, really exciting to us. I can't get into all the details about what those phases are going to be, but I can tell you that as we get into phase 2, a big part of this is combining character management, challenge management, everything together, and starting to automate things in really, really exciting ways, and in starting to increase more and more the immersion that you can have at the table, to be able to visualize more and more at the table. So all of those things are going to start happening in phase 2. And then phase 3 is going to be something really, really special to behold. Again, not a ton of details that I can talk about yet, but it's important to note that we do have these phases, and they are a part of the vision, and we understand where we're headed. And as we're trying to build the right talent, put the right team together, this is where we're going with it. And those phases help us internally quite a bit to make sure that we are staying on track with that. So I hope that this wasn't, too boring for anyone out there, but I wanted to just kind of talk through that actually the MCU has been pretty important to where D&D Beyond currently is, and even where it's going to be in the years to come. All right, question and answer time. All right, let me see if I can pull up the magic here. Let's see. I don't know where it is. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. All right, let's see what we have. Okay. Hold on. Mute me. About. All right, I'm back. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. That actually wasn't like the normal tickly cough. I'm getting that dealt with. I really am. I almost just choked on water that time. At least it wasn't sweet tea this time. All right. So from Eoning, if I subscribe to the Twitch channel at tier 3, can I get some of those D&D Beyond stickers? Unfortunately, no, because the truth is, like, I don't even know how to do that. so no, I don't think we can send you anything physically for subscribing at a higher Twitch tier. We are trying to get some emotes in place where we can try to figure that part out. Adam, did you donate to the Critical Role Kickstarter? Did not individually donate to the Kickstarter, but trust me, Critical Role gets plenty of financial support from us. All right, let's see what's next. Is this all working? Here we go. Technical. I bet it's technical. That makes more sense. Are there any updates on the encounter builder? There are updates. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. I wonder if this thing's just going to completely break if I try to do this. The challenges team is like freaking out right now. Let's see. Can we pull this over here? Will, can we see screen? Is this possible? All right. So yeah, the update on the encounter builder is it is starting to come together. So we've got 5 level 3 characters. Let's add in the Shield Guardian. I don't know what's going to happen here. Looks like the Shield Guardian is not quite working right yet. Maybe not. It looks like our fancy bar has been stopped for the moment, but that's fine. They are probably under the hood on it. But yeah, you're going to be able to find the monsters you're looking for, add them to your encounter. All the math will be done for you. It's going to be very good time. So that's the latest on the encounter builder. K Mander, what rule set does your son participate in? I'm assuming you mean for HEMA, and I don't know a lot about it myself, but I think it's Fectual, if I'm saying that right. Fectual. Apparently no, that's something that they do. He does something else. It's Study of Steel, I think is what it's called. So hopefully somebody out there knows what on earth any of that means. Chosen Rifter, will there ever be more than the 3 campaign option for paid subscriber? I have already used 2 just for my kids. 1 for all 4 of them. Other one is for 3 because 4th has a job, lol. All right. Chosen Rifter. I'm not exactly sure about the 3 campaign part of this. It is something that we're looking at. We're certainly trying to eventually get this to where sharing content counts for just the user and not the character. So the player and not the character. So that's one direction we're going. We will see how that goes in the future as far as whether we will just have a total sum of players that content can be shared with versus an actual hard campaign limit. But we have not made any of those decisions at this point in time. DMW 71 on the character sheet. Is there any chance the names of the different currencies could be editable fields? Different regions have different names for coins, and it would be really helpful if you were able to rename the currency to match the region you're in. I imagine that is something we would like to get to at some point, but it is definitely not on the short list. But it is a good idea, and hopefully we'll be able to get to it at some point. Pliable Pizza Princess. I like that one. Will the Ghosts of Saltmarsh be available earlier than May 21st on D&D Beyond if the content is set up before then? Alas, no, it will not be available earlier. We have to stick to the street release date, which is May the 21st. Now, you will see it on May the 21st at midnight Eastern time. So it is about as early as you possibly can get on May 21st. But the content for this will probably be finalized even this week. And we're going to have to, it's going to go through some review and approval processes. But it will not be available to the public, unfortunately, until May 21st. Speaking Beast. I like that one too. Any news on the API? We are making a lot of internal APIs, but I am assuming that you mean the public API, and no news to share at this point about that one. Sans D20. For the upcoming AL features to the character sheet, has there been any talk on how to handle story awards? Currently using homebrew feats for them, but I'm sure that validation will prevent me from using them. You're probably right about that. I have one that gives me resistance to disease. Really? You got resistance to disease as a story award. I like it. That would be part of the consideration. Any of these new rules elements would be something that we would be trying to scope into the AL work that we have upcoming. Alt F4 will help. Is there an ongoing blog or forum post where we could go look at the visualized data you've shown in the dev streams? No, there is not currently, but that's not to say that something couldn't be set up. So we'll take a look at that. Dragon Bjorn, DLR. I don't know what that means. Sorry, DLR. Doesn't look like a question either. Variathis, can you guys make an option? Wait, I got to click the button. That's how the magic happens. Variathis, can you guys make an option to have the words bigger for people with bad eyes? We are looking for ways to allow for that. We are already even on the character sheet, we're increasing some font sizes in what we're doing for the mobile app, and that will be reflected on the website as we get into that. As far as full customization, it's going to be a little bit hard because of layouts breaking potentially because of those things. But it is something that we'll continue to keep an eye on and try to make some improvements there. What is content Loftig? What is content management phase 2? So phase 1 is going to whitelist or blacklist at the source level. Phase 2 or anything beyond that would start getting into whitelisting and blacklisting individual element types within those sources. So for instance, if you said that you just do not like the spells in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, that your game is not going to have them, you would be able to only restrict the spells from Xanathar's Guide to Everything instead of restricting Xanathar's Guide to Everything outright. So hopefully that makes sense, but it's just digging deeper into those elements. The first use case that we're trying to address with the first pass of content management is I have an adventure and my mean players are trying to read ahead of me in that adventure with content sharing turned on. So we're going to allow you to prevent that, is kind of the first case that we're trying to address. Additional Cove, Addle Cove. Any plans to add Matt Mercer's Exandria book to the marketplace? No, we do not have the license or the rights to do so. Got table. So he is saying that Twitch subscribers or D&D Beyond subscribers will have alpha access to the encounter builder. That's a very good question. No, that is not what I'm saying at all. So sorry for any confusion there. But D&D Beyond subscribers will have access to the encounter builder alpha. Twitch subscriptions, at this point, we don't have any connection between those things. And I think you guys have seen too, we don't really push subscriptions on the Twitch channel here. That's not to say that you can't to get a few emotes, but Twitch subscriptions are not a vital part of our strategy. You just can't be a partner with Twitch without subscriptions being enabled. So that's ultimately what's happening there. Seaheart 7, are the interactive maps still in the works? Will we be able to upload custom maps to add markers and such? They are, it depends on what you mean by in the works. They are on the roadmap, and they are something that we are going to be getting to, short to medium term on the roadmap, but they are not being developed currently. There was some early conceptualization going on, but no actual developments happening at this second with them. And the idea, you should be able to upload custom maps and add markers. That is certainly part of what we're trying to accomplish. Offspring 1985. End the debate once and for all, GIF or GIF. All right, my name is Yin with underscores. Hi, Adam. Hello, Yin. First time, long time. Not true, but always wanted to say that. Well, you had your forum and you took advantage of it. I know you guys down the road have plans to revamp the homebrew magic items section of the site. However, I was tweaking the other day. I was tweaking the other day and realized that you can't make homebrew ammunition even if you copy previous ammo, i.e. an arrow +1, because it makes you choose a weapon type. Is it possible to just hotfix it and just add an ammo option? In my defense, I have no idea what hotfix means. All right. Your name is Yin. This is something that we certainly need to get around to, and I'm not sure what kind of fix we would put in place. We typically prefer not to use hot fixes, but we will try to get to some kind of fix for this. We'll try to place some importance on this in the coming weeks, because this has been a pretty persistent problem that is not necessarily difficult, but like with many things on the list, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. But this paper cut has been around, and it's definitely been pretty irritating. So we'll see what we can do with this one. Dagobah 46. Are you leaving right after work for the movie theater tonight? No. I'm leaving before work ends for the movie theater tonight. So I'm taking off early to go get in line. All right. Dragon Bjorn. How can we simulate custom class in the current Beyond? You cannot. We do not allow for base classes to be homebrewed or customized. It is something that we plan to do in the future. Kaelo, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being happiest, how happy are you with the speed of progress that you've seen on major projects like the Encounter Builder or other upcoming? What a loaded question. I think that our teams are incredibly talented, as I alluded to before, and I think that they develop at a perfectly, happy, 10 speed. The issues that much of the public is not aware of is it's not just simply making an encounter builder. If it was just down to making the math work for the encounter builder and get some of the drag and drop to work and all of that, we could be done very, very quickly, but it's not the right move because that thing would not be scalable to hundreds of thousands, millions of people. And it also would not set us up in the future to work more efficiently like we currently are. So we are in a season right now, and we have been since last October or so, where we are starting to move into distributed architecture, and we're moving away from a pretty monolithic type of framework that we Curse had used for years and years and years. And so we are in the middle of addressing a good bit of technical debt and setting ourselves up for the future to be able to really, really perform. And so it's difficult to articulate that without the public knowing all the details of what's going on there. But the development speed is very, very high. I, of course, am a fan in addition to any other role that I have here. And so I am never going to be happy with the speed of progress because I wish that all of this stuff could happen tomorrow, just like many of you do. So I'm not going to say that I'm happy with the speed. I wish that I could Thanos snap and make everything happen immediately. But I can say that our teams are top notch and they work at a very good velocity. We just have a lot of ground that we're trying to cover. Hopefully that makes sense. PHP Boy Scout. Any chance we can get a breakdown of weapons and armor by class? That sounds like an excellent idea. And I hope that Colin, our business analyst, is listening. And if he's not, I'm hopeful. I guess I could make a note. I'm acting like I'm writing because I don't have a pen. We'll see what we can do about that. Kendrastacia cannot publicly publish a homebrew cleric domain because it uses already legitimate spells. Is there going to be a fix for this in the future? I might need to dig into that one a little bit more before I can answer. But yeah, hopefully we can do something about that. So it may be Jacquard Index is getting you because of the spells being existing. We'll see what we can do about that. Archeantus 7. Speaking of shields, in the future, could there be a quick swap feature that lets you toggle what weapon shield is in your hands? I imagine that's something we could get to. I like that idea. Boredom Breeds. Will the encounter builder let you swap out a monster's weapons, like trade an orc's great axe for a longsword, or let it dual wield daggers? Not the encounter builder, but the monster builder would eventually allow you to do that. Pliable Pizza Princess again. I will never forget that username. Does the encounter builder currently have a way to track initiative during combat? No, it does not. The encounter builder doesn't currently work all the way, so it definitely does not have a way to track initiative during combat yet, but it is something that would be included at some point as you know, whether it's part of the encounter builder or part of a way to run an encounter, it is something that will exist. Offspring 1985. Are there plans to introduce more campaign writing capacity into D&D Beyond? It's a pretty vague question, like kind of in the grand scheme of things, but we do want to allow you to potentially carve out a place on D&D Beyond that can be yours and your campaigns for you to be able to add content, which I think is what you're trying to ask there. But no ETA on any of that. Steve Gibbs, which of the Marvel MCU movies is your favorite? Now, favorite is a very big word here. Okay, so the favorite is not the same as best. Okay, so I want to clarify that before I respond. I'm going to say favorite is Thor Ragnarok. I would say best at this point has been probably Winter Soldier. So my top 5 is difficult for me to put out there, but I would definitely say Thor Ragnarok, Winter Soldier, the first Guardians. We'll stop there for now because 4 and 5 would have a lot of competition. All right, Adel Cove, have you ever watched Howard the Duck? Did you enjoy it? I'm not exactly sure what this has to do with the price of eggs in China, but yes, I have watched Howard the Duck, and I did enjoy it. Archeantis 7, is there the risk of Wizards of the Coast coming out with a new edition of D&D before we see the end vision of DDB? That is a great question, and the way that I will answer this is by saying that our vision for what D&D Beyond will become accounts for any of those eventualities in the future. In other words, what we're building is going to be agnostic enough that it would function and be a boon for fans everywhere, regardless of which edition it would be currently in play. And then the other thing that I'll say is that, and by the way, this is not colored or influenced by any insider information because I'm not in Seattle today talking with them. But 5th edition's doing pretty well these days. And so, I've always heard if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So personally, I don't think that any kind of other editions are coming anytime soon. PHP Boy Scout, is there any data on the distribution of purchased source books? It would be interesting to see which are most popular. Maybe also if there's a common pattern to the order sources are purchased in. That's an interesting one. The order element of the question is pretty interesting, but ultimately we haven't shared any of the source book data. I can tell you that the Player's Handbook by far is the most purchased source. And then outside of that, it's going to start getting a little more murky. I think that Xanathar's Guide to Everything is next in line. Let me make sure that my screen's not sharing as part of this. So let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, here we go. All right. We'll see what this gives me. I can look real quick is what I'm saying. A lot of data, a lot of information. Might take a second. We'll come back to that one in just a few. Frank, the Step. What is the biggest challenge in the Adventures League settings in D&D Beyond? I don't know yet. We haven't dug in closely enough to know what those are going to be. Tally first, Adam, you're indicated as being a co-founder of DDB. Who are the other co-founders and their backgrounds? Be too many people to talk about at this point in time, but we had a pretty small team of myself and then a few other developers and a designer that started out in the beginning. Ribo1414, ETA on arrival of character sheet in app. Move along. But no ETAs. I don't give ETAs. So you might be new around here. If you are, welcome. I appreciate you spending some time with us today. But we don't give ETAs. All that does is it just begs for heartache and disappointment, because invariably we will not hit those ETAs, or something will happen and everyone will get disappointed and mad and all these things. So we just do the best that we can to move forward as quickly as we can and as well as we can. So that's our philosophy. Vexes, are any of the engineering roles remote or only in the Huntsville area? We do not currently have interest in hiring engineers that are remote, because there are just a ton of logistical challenges with that. So we are looking for people that are willing to relocate or who are in the Huntsville, Alabama area. Justin T. Bassett, I have missed the last few streams. Do we have a rough timeline for the Encounter Builder beta test? I know you asked that before I gave my previous answer, but no, we do not have a rough timeline for that. As soon as we have a timeline that we can share with the public, we will certainly share that. I get really giddy when it's time to share that information and get very excited about it. So as soon as that happens, you will know about it. VM Thomas 72. Who do you bend the knee to, House Targaryen or House Stark? None of the above. All of the people on that show are awful. What are you talking about? I would not bend the knee to any of these folks. My favorite character is, I don't even know who my favorite character is, to be honest. Like I said, a lot of the people on that show are terrible. It's still very entertaining to watch, but I'm not going to get very excited about it. Hold on one second. My phone started ringing, and my phone should never ring. So I don't know what happened right there. That was weird. All right. So yeah, none of the above. I would do my best to make it out of that entire region, because everyone is awful. All right. In-bomb games. Are we going to see any kind of hardware limitations on the mobile character sheet? Like, for example, requiring a tablet or a big screen phone. I have a smaller device, a 4-inch screen. Everything should work on at least an iPhone 5 size screen, because that is the smallest screen layout that we will go down to. So that is about 320 pixels is what we're talking about there. If you have something smaller than that, it's, it might not be an optimal experience, but we've found that iPhone 5 covers the entirety of our user base within at least 99.9999 whatever percent. So hopefully you're going to fall into that category. UG me tough. Ugh me tough. Do we know a specific job at Cursed Fandom D&D Beyond is working for D&D Beyond and not their other properties? That is an excellent question, and that is something that we're going to try to provide a little bit more clarity on in the future. One way to know with a fair amount of certainty is if it's in the Huntsville area at this point. Most of the jobs that are open for Huntsville are going to be for D&D Beyond, and it is a question that you can certainly feel free to ask the recruiter about if you are contacted. X Trucker X. I don't think I'm supposed to say the X is there. I think those are framing elements. So we're going to just say Trucker. When can we buy hard copies of D&D books that come with a digital code to use on D&D Beyond? I don't know. Might not ever be able to do that. CC is shorter. Are there plans to adjust search to require less precision? For example, if you search for clothing versus clothes, you won't find what you want. We are playing with some of Elasticsearch's capabilities as part of the encounter builder right now. And one of the things that we are testing out is introducing a little more fuzziness to search results. So if that is successful as an experiment, then we would likely incorporate that back into global search for the site. So we'll see how it goes. Adventure Fight. Will the ability to save encounters be a launch feature with alpha, or will that come later? Very good question. It will be with the alpha. That actually is kind of the last threshold that we're trying to hit, is to make sure that even if you can create an encounter during the alpha, that you can also save said encounter and recover that encounter from a list of your encounters, in order to, view that and use that at a later time. So that is kind of the minimum alpha-able product that we're marching towards right there. Agent Prometheus. Let's see here. 1 second. There we go. Agent Prometheus. Will there be a limit to how many encounters you can save at one time? I tend to create a bunch of encounters for multiple sessions at one time. For subscribers, no. It will be unlimited, just like it would be for characters if you're a subscriber. So if you're not a subscriber, you will have some limitations in place, and we don't know where those thresholds are going to be yet. It still should be more than enough for you to use for free in order to, let's say, run an adventure. You'll have more than enough slots for that. But if you are a subscriber, you can create unlimited. Next level 88. Can we get a site address that we can bookmark that takes us straight to the reference content? When you're mid-session, the menus and articles are in the way. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Almost like a full screen or something. Yeah, that's not in the cards for right now. But there are better solutions than perhaps what you're suggesting that we would want to pursue first. And that is something like making sure that, those elements are not, quote, in the way when you get onto those pages. So we'll continue to take a look at that and see what we can do to improve there. Duracay. Is the work on the DM screen going to start when the encounter builder is finished? I don't know the answer to that because it's separate teams that will be working on that. So I don't know when the planes will come into the airport there. But the content team will start working on a DM screen somewhere after the first phase of content management. Zekmorn J, any plans to implement spell points on the character sheet? At some point, but that is a very, very low priority for us, way down the list. So no idea when that's going to happen. Justin T. Bassett, who would you be saddest to see die in the Battle of Winterfell in the next episode of Game of Thrones? I think I established that they're all just kind of awful. So, I mean, they probably all deserve it. No, I'm just joking. I would be very, very sad to see Brienne die because I actually like her. She's one of the few that I would classify as maybe pretty good. So I'd be really upset. I actually wish that Brienne could just start her own house or something like that. And then maybe I would bend the knee to that house. So I'd be very sad if something happened to her. I would also be very, very sad to see something happen to Arya because I just feel like something good's got to happen with her. And, the Starks do have it pretty rough. So we'll see what happens, though. Should be an exciting weekend that we're going into. Nielsen MC. Is there work to add sub-races such as details for Eladrin into the races section? I don't know what this question means because the Eladrin details are in the races section. You might not have those unlocked. So those the Eladrin are in Mordenkainene's Tome of Foes, and you'd have to own that source to be able to see them there. Hopefully, somebody in chat has helped you out by now. Joe Joke, is there any plan to allow homebrew regular items as you've done with the magic items, i.e., chakrams? We do eventually want to do this. We took a stance that we didn't want to do it before, but the demand has certainly shown through. So it's something we want to do, but no idea of when yet. In about 3 minutes. Ikagua Guia. Will content management allow us to blacklist specific races and spells instead of all from a source book, not as part of phase 1? That would be a future phase. Dilligafern. When will the pre-gens for the Lost Mine of Phandelver, if the content is owned, be available in the character creator? Being it was the first published content for 5e. We will make that available as soon as we have the ability to copy a character, publicly. You can copy your own characters right now, but copying someone else's character is the functionality that's needed here, because otherwise this would be this would not really be something that would work well for anyone. So it's something that is on the list, and ultimately what we are selling as part of the D&D starter set is the Lost Mine of Phandelver Adventure, and so that's what you will get on the site is the adventure. The pre-gens and any of the other things, I'm looking at the box is the reason I'm looking over here, but anything else in the box is extra content, and we will digitize that as we are able to, but it's not always possible. Captain Robert, what currently is the best way to gift someone D&D Beyond content? Unfortunately, currently the best way to do that is to give them cashy money or a bank transfer, give them a little bit of money on PayPal, and then let them buy it themselves. Obviously, that's not a great option. So we are working to try to figure out gifting, and I have a very strong feeling we will have that in place before the next holiday season. The Gmote, will there be a map maker added to D&D Beyond, especially for PvPs and for IRL games? I can't believe you got me to say IRL. I refuse to say that ever, but you just got me to. So well played. And then you thanked me. I appreciate that too. So I can't get into commenting on that one too much yet, but we'll see what the future holds. Ancient Red Dragon, if D&D Beyond was an MCU character, which would it be and why? See, I think that's really, really hard to say. And I would say that what we're trying to make DDB be is actually the Avengers, because we've got a lot of characters that are coming together to make it what it is going to be. All right. It looks like we're out of time. I appreciate you guys joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for the questions. And I'm just slightly out of breath, so we're doing okay. And remember, next week, I'm going to be traveling, so no development update. We'll remind on the socials and all of that. But I hope everyone has a great day. If you happen to be seeing any movies this weekend, I hope it's everything you dreamed it would be. Talk to you later. Later, Gators.